This episode of The Reasons I'm Broke is brought to you by Audible.
Sign up today and get a free 30-day trial along with your choice of an audiobook. That's audibletrial.com/nerdupmedia.
Over 150,000 titles to choose from, all available on your Kindle, Android, and iPhone.
Enjoy the show.
Hello and welcome to the Reasons I'm Broke podcast, bringing you the reasons we're broke, ranging from comics, movies, TV, video games, and more. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Kelly.
And for brand new Brokettes out there, welcome to the Broquette family. The way we format the show is first we cover news, ranging from comics, movies, TV, video games, and more. And we finally end off the show with our comic book reviews of the week. Not a lot of news.
Not at all.
This is going to be a podcast of trailers.
Yes, a lot of trailers did release this week, but like we said, no other news. Very quiet week.
Yeah, for the most part. It's nothing but TV this week. There's going to be a couple of little things out there, like new merchandise that released, but nothing mind-blowing. I'm sure next week will be a completely different story. Actually, no, in our luck, tomorrow, we're recording this on Thursday night. Tomorrow, they're just going to release everything.
Everything. Like, Nintendo's doing this, and Marvel's doing this. And we're like, well, we got trailers.
Why wasn't that in the podcast, you assholes? I'm like, guys, I swear, I didn't know.
Sure, Dan. Unfollow.
It'll be here next week. Yeah, when it's old news, when it's 7 days old.
We don't want to read about it then. Or I guess they don't read. Listen, maybe somebody's reading it.
Somehow, I guess.
Somehow.
Alright, so the first trailer, I think the least exciting of the bunch. Mm-hmm. We're going to build up on this news bit, because it's not huge on news again. So we're trying to be creative here.
Yeah, so early 2016 on Fox, we will be seeing Lucifer.
Yeah, the trailer just hit. Lucifer, based off of the Sandman universe, which there is actually a Sandman movie supposedly in the works.
Awesome.
Obviously has nothing to do with this.
Of course not. So this trailer is pretty much discount Constantine.
It is. The poor man's Constantine is what this show is. If you haven't seen it, the devil, or Lucifer, decides he's not going to be Lucifer anymore, goes up to Earth, meets this girl. I'm assuming he falls in love with her. Whatever the anchor is.
He's in Los Angeles because it's the city of angels.
Yeah, of course it is. And someone gets murdered that he cares about, so he decides to figure out who it is. And pretty much the exact same angel from Constantine is his partner.
I mean, that's not the same guy, but
what do you think happens to the demons when there's no ruler in hell? They're gonna be on Earth and they're gonna be fucking with him.
Yeah. That's
Is that a CSI reference?
Yes, definitely. That's a song they should have played.
So he has to go around solving mysteries, and he'll meet up a new partner, maybe a psychic. It has to be Constantine.
No, okay, so he and this girl get shot up, right? This girl that he loves, and she's dead, but he's alive. And so then this, police lady's like, why are you alive? And she's not, And he's like, I bring out lust in people. And she's like, I don't want none of you. And he's like, are you from my dad?
In other words, they're going to fall in love by the end of the season.
They're going to do it first, and then they'll fall in love. And then he'll be like, I can't love you, I have to go back to hell.
So, still a ways away. What'd you think of the trailer? Will this fill that Constantine void?
Absolutely not. It's not Constantine. But it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm going to watch it.
I was going to say, you didn't like the Constantine trailer at all. You refused to watch it. I remember that. I was watching it, and you're like, I'm not seeing that stupid thing. I don't like Constantine.
Constantine.
And then we watched the show, and you're like, this isn't bad. You were like, your exact words were, well, I guess it's not too terrible.
No, I said, well, I guess I don't hate it too much, or something like that. Something like that. This show probably, it won't be as good as Constantine.
You've decided. You haven't seen it, but you've decided.
I've decided.
Because you care more about Constantine than Lucifer now?
Yes. It probably won't be that great. It looks like an adult teen drama.
Sort of does. I still think it's... Well, that's what Constantine was, wasn't it?
No, Constantine wasn't an adult teen drama.
I guess it was more of a sci-fi.
There wasn't love all over the place. This is gonna be love all over the place. He loves her, but she loves him. But he really wants her, but she doesn't want him. And then there's gonna be that line where she gets mad and goes, "Go to hell," and he goes, "I've already been there, baby." It's gonna be that kind of show.
You're right, it is.
And I'm going to love every moment of it. Because those are the kind of shows that I watch and enjoy.
Readers of the original book are saying that this is a far departure from the source material.
Probably.
I think it'd be a little difficult to not involve Sandman and to make this into something that's close to the actual book and the comics, they basically just borrowed the concept of the character and kind of ran with it and made its own, worked it for television, if anything. So another show did that recently, and that was iZombie.
Yep.
And we absolutely adore that show. And I have read the first trade, and it is very different. Like it's like you've read it too. It's like black and white. Very different premise.
There's just similar concepts.
Right. And the book actually has more supernatural to it. Like there's vampires as well, and werewolves. But the show works on its own too, which I really liked. You can enjoy either one in their own separate ways. And I'm hoping Lucifer is like that. Fans of the book have the book, and that'll be their own thing. But I feel like Lucifer will grow into its own, like you said, an adult drama.
I feel like they're really trying to appeal to women out there, definitely.
With Lucifer?
With Lucifer, because I saw it, I'm like, oh, there's going to be a love story. Oh, this Lucifer guy's kind of cute. Oh, he's got lots of money. Like, it's what women want.
Just good looking and lots of money.
That's all we need.
Sorry, 99.9% of men out there.
I mean, and sometimes it's not even good looking. We're just like, oh, money. I could grow to love him.
That's shallow.
We're terrible, terrible creatures. So I definitely think they're trying to, and all those like vampire shows, it had that same kind of feel where it's like, oh, dark and brooding and sexy, and that's who they're appealing to. That's who they're going to get in, and it'll probably do really well for those reasons. Speaking
of appealing to the female audience, the other trailer that released this week, and it was like a 6-minute trailer, was the Supergirl trailer airing on the CBS.
Yep. So this begins this fall at 8 p.m., like you said, on CBS, and this is the exact same time slot as Fox's Gotham.
So they're going to be competing for that comic book market at that point. I feel Gotham is so established among the viewers. People love that show. They love the Penguin, I should say. It's not Gotham, it's Penguin, the television show. And for Supergirl, it's going to be a completely different audience. I don't feel like as many women would be attracted to Gotham as they would Supergirl. And I don't know about your opinion, maybe it's different, but that's the way I felt like they were trying, that's the audience they were trying to get. The people that weren't watching Gotham are probably going to appeal more to Supergirl, the lighter show. It looks like it's way more fun than Gotham, less drama.
I have some problems with Supergirl, though, and we'll get to that in just a second. I don't feel that the show will pull away from Gotham's ratings, because with things like Hulu and it's not called TiVo anymore, but where you can record your shows, I don't really feel like putting things in the same time slot has as much of an effect as it used to. So I don't see this pulling away from Gotham. If anything, I feel it could actually help Gotham, because people are going, oh, Supergirl is great, let's check out this other DC show.
Possibly. I don't see them connected in any way other than it's also a comic book show and it's also a DC show. I do think it's a little odd that both DC shows are competing against one another. Like, I understand that's probably the best time slot for something like Supergirl or really any TV show. 8 p.m. is really good. But I guess if I were more in control, if I were the head of DC or Warner Brothers, whatever, I'd be like, let's put these at different seasons. Like, when Gotham's no longer on, you're going to put on, let's try to put on Supergirl, even though it's different networks. I don't know. That way they both flourish in their own way. But I'm assuming that the fall is the premier time to air your TV shows. And more people are going to be home, especially during the holidays or even after that. That's when you're going to be, you can sell the DVDs, the Blu-rays, the merchandise, bring it all out at once. I totally get it. So that's probably why they didn't go that route. As far as the trailer itself, is that what you wanted to sort of talk about, or Supergirl herself?
No, I mean, let's talk about it all. What were your opinions? We'll get your opinions first.
My opinion, as soon as I saw this, it looks fun. I definitely want to watch it. Like, I saw this, I'm like, oh, I'm in. Let's give it a shot. Why not? Give it at least 3 episodes, just like we do with the comics or any other TV show. Give it 3 episodes. But to me, I was a little bit more excited. Now, I understood that I was not the audience that this was intended for. This wasn't intended for me, who I guess I would say a male viewer. We'd be more into like Arrow or The Flash, which has more action. But I still wanted to see Supergirl, and I was excited for Supergirl. I don't know if it's because I read the comics or because I'm clearly a DC fanboy, but I just really like the look of the show, the light nature of it. The budget looked really good for the action scenes that they were showing with her, catching the airplane and stopping it. Very classic. As far as the writing itself, it was very cliche in the storytelling and the characters, but this is just a trailer. It could be that they're highlighting those things to try to bring in a particular audience, to try to market it in that way. Right. And then when the show comes out, they'll have that sprinkled in, but hopefully they'll have that character development throughout the show and the season.
My turn?
Your turn.
So I had a lot of problems. Okay, and I get this is just a trailer. This is probably based off everything in the pilot, so it may become something different. I fully understand that. But this was not the Supergirl I wanted to see. The Supergirl they're presenting, and I'm sure it has a very strong audience, is someone, and I don't feel like I'm spoiling anything. I hope you've all seen the trailer. If not, pause it.
It's just a trailer.
Anyway,
if anyone gets mad over spoiling a trailer, it's kind of a little much, right? A television trailer.
It's the internet, Dan.
Yeah, that's true. They can
get mad over
anything,
everything.
Yeah.
Like I use your instead of your, and it's over.
And they can hear it. Like I know which one you use.
Oh, you didn't use the apostrophe R. Okay. Anyway, regardless. So they present a much weaker Supergirl who is very unsure of herself and is in that job where she's just beaten down on all day from her bitch boss, and now she's becoming stronger and gonna stand up for herself and da-da-da-da.
So you wanted her to be stronger from the get-go?
I did, and I get that there's a great audience for that, but Supergirl knows who she is because obviously she comes to Earth when she's older. Mm-hmm. So she already knows that she has these powers. She already knows who she is. I would have not liked to have seen her shy away from those her entire life and be like, this is something I need to hide. This is somebody that I can't be. Because yes, we saw that in the Man of Steel movie, right, but he still owned those powers. He still used them to help people, even though he knew that wasn't what he was supposed to be. And you don't see that in Supergirl. It's, oh, this is something bad, which I think is, I mean, in a backwards way, it's kind of horrible to do that to her and not to Superman, because women get that all the time, that the way they are is bad. It's something that should be shied away from, certain things.
Certain elements, right.
Right, and they're kind of presenting that in this. And yes, we're going to see her overcome that and become something greater.
In the pilot, because this is all from the pilot.
Right, exactly. But I would rather have seen that from the get-go.
I understand. And I will talk about some of the things I also didn't really like. And one of those is, I understand that her cousin is Kal-El, Superman. Mm-hmm. And they're now saying that he may possibly make some kind of appearance in the show. But the fact that they've already brought him into it, now you've put yourself in a place where, okay, are we going to continue to tease him throughout the season? Like, oh, it's your Superman cousin, and then never show him at all? Or are you going to show him and then establish a whole different Superman from the movies, like they're doing with the Flash? Like now there's two Flashes. Now they're going to try to connect it to the movie, where that wouldn't work either, because the destruction of Krypton didn't look anything like the one in Man of Steel, so that doesn't connect either. It's very confusing. Like, that's the one thing. And I don't want to get hung up on continuity too much, but just as from a marketing perspective, like, you don't want to confuse your audience in that way. Like, I know you want to establish, like, this is the movie universe, this is our television universe, they're separate, but people don't really see it that way. They like to make the connections. Right,
and they made her costume very, very similar to Man of Steel.
Yes, they did.
Which is going to confuse a lot of people, I think, also. Another thing that bothers me too, and again I'm going back to my perception of Supergirl as being strong, is in this trailer she does a lot of complaining and whining and leaning on other people. And I understand having that strong support system is great, but is the first episode going to be, oh, I can't do this in my life, and then somebody has to build her up and push her out?
Possibly. It's one of those pilot things, I guess, where she has to establish her friends that actually help her throughout the journey.
I mean, they're making it a very stereotypical woman show. This is a Lifetime movie, is what they're making right here. And I didn't want to see that for Supergirl. And maybe they'll surprise me. Like we said, this is just a trailer. But women are strong, and they need to build off that, not look at the weakness and how she overcame it. She can be strong from the beginning.
That's very true. And I think they're aiming for, like you mentioned, maybe the Lifetime audience type. But that's not really, that's a shrinking market. Like now it's women and young girls that want to see independent characters, male or female, it doesn't matter. They want to see them on screen. They want to see themselves equally represented, not only as women, but minority women as well, whatever the case may be. That's the world, and that's the direction we're changing in, and that's what the audience wants. And that's, you're seeing some companies recognize that. I mean, with the comic book world, they're always, right now they're going into that direction with the new Thor, the new Captain America. You're seeing DC with the new direction with the June titles. A bunch of those, 23 of them, are aimed at younger readers. And with a show like this, I feel like they're either going to have to shift that as they continue, or maybe that is what they're going with, but they're just marketing in this certain way. Whatever the case may be, we're both still going to watch it. We're both still going to see it. And one of the other complaints I saw, and maybe it ties into what you just said, is people are calling it too girly. I don't really know what that means, but Dan Slott was...
I mean, yeah, it is. It's... Okay, so kind of shifting gears, but kind of on the same point. Yes, I definitely think it's too girly, and if they're trying to appeal to younger girls, I don't think this is going to pull them in as much as a strong character would. I saw a great advertisement once, one of the best advertisements I've ever seen, where they asked adult women, run like a girl, punch like a girl. How would you do all these other things like a girl? And of course they're doing it very weak and silly and and then they asked young girls, 9 and 10-year-olds, to do all those things, and they were trying their hardest to do those things. So, making her weak like this, that's not going to get your younger audience if that's what they're going for.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I was a little confused about. It's like, what do they mean by girly? Like, I don't understand that part of it. Do they mean that she's just not strong, a weaker character? I don't understand what that meant. And Dan Slott he had a great tweet, and he said, if you're going to tweet at me about the show being too girly for you, or... That was basically it. He just said, too girly for you and you're a man, don't talk to me because I'm just going to block you and I'm not going to even argue with you.
Right.
And someone responded with, well, we can't have an objective opinion and be a man? What's that mean? And never responded to that. So that's where I'm still trying to understand where the arguments are coming from on both ends. I'm still processing that in my mind. In my head, I'm still like, this still looks like fun. This looks like it's going to be enjoyable at the very least, and I'll give it its fair shake and watch it.
Well, I definitely will too. Of course, I'm not going to judge a book by its cover, but I feel like if Gail Simone was writing Supergirl, this would be a much different TV show. And, it's not the Supergirl that I want to see, but we'll definitely give it a shot.
One last thing before we move on to another trailer, the last one that we're going to cover, is people with the New 52 Supergirl. She's an angrier superhero, and this is why when you see her turn into the Red Lantern, people flock to the book. Like, all kinds of readers, men, women, they wanted to read that comic in which she turned into a Red Lantern. Like, this is a superhuman. This is Supergirl. Superman's cousin is a Red Lantern, and they flocked to it. They read it. We sold out, and they have to get the trades, and now we're getting the issues back in, which is awesome. And maybe that's the one they wanted to see in the television show, like an angrier Supergirl, and maybe we'll see that still.
I think it's more realistic than, oh, your coffee's warm today. Ooh, about damn time. Oh no.
What will I do now? Commercials.
I've got a date and I don't know what to wear. Like, just, guys don't care. He just wants to get in your pants. Throw on whatever.
Jeez. And the last trailer here is the Legends of Tomorrow, which actually came out today.
So this trailer features the Atom, Flash, Firestorm, White Canary, Hawkgirl, Heatwave, and Captain Cold.
This is a spin-off television show on the CW, coming from Arrow and The Flash. It will air in 2016. So this is essentially like the television superhero team-up. I want to say the first one. I can't think of another, like, where there were different shows and then they went together into a spin-off television show where it became a team thing. They're saying it's going to be 13 episodes long.
Right, and they also said that it's going to be like a 13-hour movie.
Yes.
So this whole thing will connect. It looks pretty cool. We don't really watch the Arrow, but we love the Flash. The problem I have thus far is the character of Firestorm.
Well, yeah, that could be a plot point, though.
Right, exactly. But we don't see the other half of Firestorm that we have in the Flash TV show. But pretty much all these characters are there teaming up to fight something, and then...
Not something, Vandal Savage.
Vandal Savage.
Fuck yes.
Okay, Vandal Savage. And then Doctor Who shows up, and he's like, yo, I'm a Time Lord. We gotta go through all spans of time.
Why are you dressed like Constantine, Doctor Who?
I thought it was gonna be Constantine, too, and I was like, oh, hell no.
Yeah, I got a little mad, too.
I was
like, this
so
is
angry. And then he's like, nah, I'm Doctor Who, bitch. And I'm like, oh, okay. Time Lord.
Calm down. I'm just dressed like Constantine, that's all.
He's just got a cool outfit. I'm like, he does have a cool outfit. I wish I could dress as Constantine. It looks pretty cool.
It's like a long television special.
Yeah.
With as successful as the Arrow has been, the Flash, and you have different characters from both of those shows coming together into this, and then they're introducing new ones like Hawkgirl, and then a resurrected Black Canary as White Canary. Big one being the Atom, who seems to be like the center of a lot of these trailers.
Yeah.
I want to say that's Brandon Routh. He played Superman in the Superman Returns movie from, what was it, 9 years ago, 10 years ago, right around there. So he's back in the DC universe as another superhero, which is pretty exciting. So you're going to get a lot of those fans that like Superman Returns coming to see Brandon, or just fans of Brandon watching the Legends of Tomorrow trailer. I thought it looked cool. Like, it's going to be a bunch of action. It's going to be a showcase of your favorite heroes from the television shows brought together into a large plot that will, again, span for 13 episodes. And then you're going to have the growth in the various separate shows like Arrow and like The Flash. And from this, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a spin-off of this featuring the Atom as his own show, or maybe even Hawkgirl in her own television show, whatever it may be. This is good things all about.
Right. I definitely agree. We're going to see a lot of, like, anger and fighting within the little team, though, because you have Captain Cold, who's going to piss me off, because he kind of pisses me off in Flash anyway. I'm like, sir, stop trying to act so hard.
And he went after Dougie Jones.
Yeah, he did. You leave Dougie Jones alone. Anyway, and he's like, I can't ever see myself being a hero, because I'm too cool.
He shoots snowflakes out of his fucking guns.
Yes. And then Doctor Who was like, well, in the future, you're not heroes. You're legends.
I would have been like, you can leave, Captain Cold. Like, I know I said we needed you, but we don't need you
We don't
now,
need any of your
because
nonsense.
you're kind of lame.
Yeah.
And you shot Doug Jones. Shot him in the face.
Nobody really likes you in your little parka. It's not even, like, cold outside.
I'm from Chicago. That's
like
not cold.
90 degrees, sir. Why are you wearing a parka? Because I'm so cool. No, just your guns are cold. Your body temperature is actually the same all the time, and I'm sure you're sweating under there.
You're not Mr. Freeze. The other one that got delayed was actually Titans from TNT.
Aww.
Remember, we're going to have that late next year,
Yes.
last time I checked. And that was going to feature Raven, not Cyborg because he's going to be in the movies, Robin, Starfire.
Good love story. That's all I need.
The big hitters, basically. Beast Boy was going to be in it as well.
Awesome.
And that got delayed. TNC essentially said that they're going to continue to discuss it as the year continues.
Jerks.
But they feel that the market right now is that void is filled already with superhero shows.
Never.
They pointed at Gotham. They pointed at The Flash, Arrow. They said there's really not a place for them where they can be like, okay, so this is a slot we can take, and then we can get some of that market. So they're kind of holding off on it, waiting for these shows to kind of settle a little bit.
DC just also needs to do a deal with Netflix so we can get all these shows at once.
All the episodes in one thing.
All the episodes at once.
Marvel wouldn't allow it. They'd be like, if you do a deal with them, then we're pulling out.
Disney just needs to buy DC also.
It might happen. I don't know. I don't think Warner Brothers would sell DC.
Probably. If Disney wrote enough dollars.
How would you feel about that? Like, I know it's not going to... I don't think it's going to happen. But then again, we didn't think that Marvel would get bought up by Disney.
Right.
I personally don't think it'll happen. How would you feel, though?
Am I going to feel betrayed? Like, no, I'd be so happy. I'm like, now we can make a theme park that's Marvel and DC. And I will work in Gotham City.
I'd be mostly indifferent. I would just be like, Jeff Johns still has a job here, right? Like, I would want I'd be like, okay, but our Jeff Johns is greater than your Kirkman, or our Scott Snyder is greater than, I would be comparing, like, these guys have more power, so give them more influence over everything else.
Aww.
That's how I would be playing. Like, I don't know who those authors are. Okay, fine. Chip Zdarsky, you can come on over and you can work with Gail Simone.
Okay, but here's the thing. I don't think if Disney bought them that they would, like, merge the two.
You think they'd keep them separately?
They keep them
like
separate.
They do now?
Like how much has Disney really influenced Marvel besides Like, Disney's like the Shark Tank investors. People come to them and say, hey, I want to do this thing. And they're like, okay, cool, here's some money, here's my influence, but I'm still going to let you do your thing.
But I want 28,000% interest on all of this.
Yeah, pretty much. But I think they would do the same thing with DC, and then we would see an awesome DC Marvel theme park.
That's the end game to you. Not possible movies or crossover comics again. Television shows. It's all about theme parks.
Theme parks. So I can
there's
go
Six
work
Flags,
in Gotham.
right?
That's like really long drive. Disney's like not that long a drive.
This is also the season of finales with a lot of these television shows, and we hit our first one. Because we don't watch Arrow. Gotham season finale was this week. We're going to have iZombie and The Flash next week.
Oh, my favorite thing.
But they're all getting season 2s. It's alright. Don't worry. They're coming back eventually.
No.
So what'd you think of Gotham, the final episode?
It was cray-cray. Shit went down all over the place.
I was unimpressed. I was like, oh, alright, cool. Like, there were stronger episodes before that they could have ended the season on.
Yes, I agree. And I think if we hadn't had 3 episodes of crazy murderer...
Yeah, that went on way too fucking long.
It wouldn't have slowed the momentum. But I foresaw a lot of it, like with... I'm like, no, she's crazy, kill her!
You're talking about Barbara Gordon?
Yes.
Okay.
Saw it from the beginning. Knew it was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen, like, the first time she met the murderer dude, like, 4 episodes ago. I'm like, this is what's going to happen. And I was right. I did not see all the gang stuff that went down, though. Like, I knew it would eventually lead to Penguin being where he is, because obviously Batman fights him later, and he
has a status.
Right. So you knew that's where it was going to go. I didn't expect him to get there this quickly.
Same with the Riddler as well. I feel like they're developing really quickly, and I understand this is different than the comics. This is not going to be like the show. I've accepted that a long time ago. You have to, because it's already from the very beginning. You know this is going to be different from what you're used to, and that's okay. You gotta sort of appreciate what the work or the world that they're building for what it is. And obviously, if you haven't, you've dropped out of the show a while ago. But at this point, it's like, okay, so these villains are going to be villains well before the Batman actually shows up and starts putting control in Gotham again. And that's cool. I don't think we'll ever see like a flash forward, I guess, where the Batman will be taking out these guys. Or maybe we will. Maybe it'll be like Smallville, where we see at the very end, Superman puts on the outfit, or in this case, Bruce eventually puts together a batsuit in like a 10 years later type of situation, 20 years later, whatever it is. I don't know how long the show's going to go. But Gotham is a television show I compare very much to junk food. Like, there's not a lot to process there. Everything's very black and white. Like, okay, and then there's this guy, and there's these... It's a little cheesy at the same time. It's not as dark as you would expect for something that takes place in Gotham either. So it's a lot of very different, unexpected things, and that's fine. I enjoy it for what it is, again. But at the same time, then it doesn't leave an impact with me. So when the season's over, like, if there were no season 2, I'd be like, all right, that was Gotham. Like, I wouldn't be broken up about it. That's why there's a difference between this and, like, Constantine, in which there's these great characters, this great acting, this great story, and we're like, we want more, you know? Same with The Flash, to a little bit of a lesser extent, because we like Constantine so much more. Gorilla Grodd or iZombie, same type of situation.
Love iZombie.
I know people like Gotham, and I would put it at the same level as Arrow. Like, it's just kind of there with action, a little bit of drama, and that's kind of it. Like, that's all it's supposed to be. Nothing more, nothing less.
I would agree. I feel like we had a lot of... Like, it was a real good cop show in the beginning. Like, we're solving these mysteries, we're going on this journey, and you meet all the dirty cops, and now it's just gotten to the point where it's Gordon against the world.
Can we get Harvey? Like, where's Harvey?
And he makes that face all the time. That face.
Yeah, he does.
And he's like, I'm gonna get you, Loeb, you're going down, and I'm gonna get you, this other cop, you're all going down, I hate all of you. And it's like, oh, I'm fired, but now I'm not fired, but now I'm fired again, but now I'm not fired, so
I'm promoted.
I'm promoted, oh, now who cares, I'm just gonna die because whatevs, I'm already fired. I'm like, calm down, Gordon.
He's all over the place.
He
definitely.
He is. And I mean, part of that is the writing.
Yeah.
But it's been good so far. I am glad I got a season 2.
And that will actually do it for our news this week. We did say it was going to be a short news week, a short episode overall. Hopefully we'll have more next week, but we do want to highlight a guest that we have coming up at Omni Expo, sponsors of Nerd Up Media.
This guest is David Wald. He will be there Friday through Sunday.
David's work includes Master Chief in Halo Legends, Paulie in One Piece, Hero in Starship Troopers, and more.
Also at Omni Expo, Nerd Up Media will have its very own panel. This is Podcasting 101.
That'll be on Saturday the 23rd at 3 p.m. in Panel Room 2, Salon 6.
Join the Nerd Up Media crew as we go through how you can get started on a podcast or a Let's Play channel. We'll share what has worked for us, our experiences, and how social media can help you grow your fan base. We will also have a Q&A to discuss general comic book and video game news.
So all of the shows at Nerd Up Media will be represented, including Bacon in the Oven, Ourselves with the Reasons I'm Broke, The Read Pile, Those Two Jerks, and The Lazy Gaming Guys. If you want to go to the entire Omni Expo convention, that'll be May 22nd through the 24th at the Rosen Center Hotel in Orlando, Florida.
So our podcast generally goes up on Sundays. So that means you guys have like 6 days.
Yeah, at this point, it would be, right? By the time they're actually listening to it.
Mm-hmm.
Really exciting. I guess this would be the... Unless we record early next week, this might be the podcast before the actual panel. If it is, we hope to see you all there. At least some of you. I know a couple of you on Twitter have told me that you're going to come out for the panel, and
Awesome.
We're really excited. And we're going to have some prizes there. Mm. We're not saying what it is yet. There's going to be some surprises, and we're going to be covering all kinds of stuff. It's going to be a lot of fun. Omni Expo, that'll be our first time going to it.
Yeah.
We liked the MetroCon. There was also the one right before this one. Mythicon. This Omni Expo is actually a little bit bigger than Mythicon. They were advertising. They own a couple of different little conventions, so this is really exciting for us and for the rest of us too at nerdupmedia.com. Another sponsor is Audible. We always have that trial offer out there for you Brokettes.
Yep, Brokettes get a free audiobook download of their choice along with a 30-day free trial. All you have to do is head over to audibletrial.com/nerdupmedia.
Brokettes get a free audiobook download of their choice along with a free 30-day trial. Again, that's only at audibletrial.com/nerdupmedia. I say only at because that's the one that helps us. So audibletrial.com/nerdupmedia. That's the one you want to go to.
And with that, we can move into our comic books. We have a wonderful selection this week. First off, we're going to start with our indie books, followed by... We have 2 Marvels and 1 DC.
Kicking it off with Adventure Time, Marceline Gone Adrift, number 5, written by Meredith Gran and art by Carrie Peach. And this is 1 issue left in the series, right after this.
So Princess Bubblegum finally makes it to space to find Marceline, and then Marceline is a woman.
Well, that's sort of the relationship. Like, they're upset at one another for something.
Yes, and we don't know what they're upset... I mean, we kind of know what they're upset about. Marceline's mad because Bubblegum puts other things before her. And I get that. But Marceline needs to be like, yo, she's got, like, a whole kingdom to run. Like, she can't just be spending all her time with me and nonsense. And I don't think Bubblegum's really realized her feelings yet. I think Marceline's at the point where she's realized her feelings. She's like, okay, I'm ready to move forward with this. And Bubblegum's like, kingdom to run, do.
Yeah, I kind of got that as well. And with this rift between the two characters, there's also that rift in between the two worlds. Because there's a misunderstanding between the Candy Kingdom and this space colony that Marceline is a part of.
There's the Candy Kingdom, and then there's the Leafians, and then there's, like, the dog world.
Right, and that's the one that Marceline's with.
Yes.
Leafians seem to be the enemy that is going to unite the two to fight against them, because they're really causing a lot of problems.
They're assholes.
This. Yeah, they are. So hopefully by the end they'll actually get together, and maybe they'll finally confirm for sure that there's this.
Hopefully.
Maybe we'll see like the first kiss between Bubblegum and Marceline.
I don't think
Who
we
knows?
will. I really don't think we will.
If we do, I know speculators are going to immediately flock to number 6.
Oh,
Nope, I need this. I love this is for my collection. That's always how I'm fooled.
Sure.
They always say that, and I'm never like calling them out either. I'm never like, oh, you like this? Like, I know what it's for. I know why you're trying to buy TMNT number 40 or whatever. But they always, without a fail every time, well, this is for my personal collection. All right, cool.
Your personal eBay collection. Your list of items sold collection. Our next book is Bravest Warriors, number 32. This is written by Kate Leff and Pranas T. Nijokaitis, with the artist being Ian McGinty and Pranas T. Nijokaitis, and the colorist is Lisa Moore.
So the final part of this 3-issue arc with Catbug and Buckcat trying to destroy his brother, and the Bravest Warriors kind of in the middle of it while they're trying to raise these other kids and trying to keep in control with them as they are at summer camp. It is my pass of the week. I was done with this story an issue ago.
I mean, yeah, it's my pass of the week too. There's a funny Catbug moment, but that was really all that I got out of this issue.
And even the backup story with like the mega fan of the Bravest Warriors.
Yeah.
It was, I don't know. This book is starting to get on thin ice with me, the Bravest Warriors. I'll give the next issue or the next arc a try, but I don't know. It's not really doing it for me.
Close to the chopping block. There's money that could be saved.
Yep, exactly.
The only redeeming part of this book, and it wasn't really that redeeming, was when Catbug was gonna go back to his world, because I guess Catbug's a king ruler somewhere.
Yeah, and in the show he's like a bug thing.
Which is great. No, but like, I love it because for me, Catbug is still that little kid. I mean, I guess that's what they want us to think of him as. But he's really like this evil overlord king ruler, and his brother's like, yo, we gotta go back. And Catbug's like, okay. So he opens the portal and they're going back, and then Plum's like, you don't have to go, Catbug. And he's like, okay. And like, that's the end of it. I love Catbug. Oh, he's great.
So that was the bit of the book that...
Yeah, that's the
redeeming thing.
That's the only part that I liked. Is Catbug being like, okay. Closing his portal like, peace, brother.
Another indie book that I'm kind of sad it's only 12 issues, but that is Giant Days number 3 of 12, written by John Allison, art by Lisa Traiman, and colors by Whitney Kogar.
This is also a great book. I'm really, really enjoying it. We get to see more of these characters and just fall more in love with them. And they're so funny, and it's such a good friendship.
Great friendship, great past relationship that we're exploring and learning more about. Thankfully, they didn't tell us right from the beginning. It's kind of slowly getting to us. As the character's warming back up to this past lover or boyfriend, whatever this person is, that's when we're learning more about him as well. And that's what I like about this slow burn of Giant Days. Like, it's not slow in that we're like, okay, I want to know what's happening next. It's like, okay, cool, so this is going on. And then we have the main plot, which is amazing, and it's fun, and it's hilarious. For this one, it makes a point of this group of campus guys that are taking pictures of the first years around college and saying, okay, so she's hot, and we're going to make this site, and we're going to say these are potential first year, I don't know what they call them on that site, but it's basically like a dating site for the college
Not
grounds.
even, it's like a list of hotties is what they're doing, and they're like the top 10 hotties of the first years. And then it's, they just write degrading things about them so that guys can be like, oh, okay, cool. And then they like offer up their phone numbers and stuff like that.
Yeah, sleazy bunch of guys, and they get theirs with Giant Days. It's a great book. I love it.
Yeah, a lot of fun. Definitely recommended. Our next book may or may not be my pick of the week.
It is. No need to fool people.
Saga number 28. This is written by Brian K. Vaughan with art by Fiona Staples.
May or may not be. Whatever.
Okay, fine. It's definitely my pick of the week. For 28 weeks. Good job, Saga. It's been my pick of the week for like 3 years now because they take lots of breaks.
That's a guaranteed pick of the week. Like, that should be on Saga's somewhere, not the cover.
Like on the on the inside cover, always Kelly's pick of the week.
When they bring out the hardcover with like those quotes on it, or the trade paperback, it'll say, always my pick of the week. Kelly, the reasons I'm broke.
It should definitely say those.
Then we can retire.
We've done our job. We've made it on the cover of a comic. Gonna go take a nap now.
Right, so there you go. Your thoughts on Saga.
Amazing, as always. We're coming to the climax of this arc, where we have this cray-cray group of people who are going to do terrible, terrible things. We have Marco over here with Robot Face, the 5th or whatever he is. King Robot Prince Robot, something. Robot Prince. And now his dad's after him, so they're stopped. You have the wonderful moment at the end with Yama was her name? The willow tree lady. Grandmother Willow.
From Pocahontas.
Yes. Grandmother Willow.
Way, Wakuza, you will understand. I don't even know if that's the lyric.
That is absolutely the lyric. I'm proud of you. So she has her wonderful defining moment in the end, which just made me love her so much more. You have Gus the little seal man who's like, I just need to find my walrus cow. And I'm like, find that walrus cow. Because he can like talk to him through space. But then you have the Will's sister, and a little girl, which, did you notice? He named the little girl after his sister.
I didn't notice that.
Did you catch that?
I'm not as invested in these characters
Apparently
as you are.
not. So the girl's name is Sophia, and then the Stock's brother? I don't know, another creepy-ass Spider-Man. He shows up, and he calls the Will's sister Sophia, and Sophia looks at her and goes, "Why did he call you?" And then she cuts her off, and they keep going. So the Will named her after his sister.
So there's another connection there between those. So here's another relationship you can care
and
about.
I'm like, oh, it's so nice. So, yes, wonderful. The great thing I love about this book, too, is you jump between so many places in space with so many different characters, and you never feel lost. And I have a feeling that we're going to see those gay reporters again soon, and I still remember them, and it's been how many months?
Yeah.
And they're wonderful characters, so good job, Saga, for being my pick of the week again. You rad. That's what they need to put on their cover. You rad. Kelli, the reasons I'm broke.
Not much more I can say about it. It's Saga. It's great.
It's your pick of the week.
It's not my pick of the
Good
week,
job.
though.
Pick of the week.
Next we have Uncle Scrooge, number 2, written by Jan Cruz, Bruno Sarda, Frank Jonker, and Paul Hugma. Art by Bas Heymans, Andrea Frechero, and Maximino Tortajada Aguilar. With colors by Sonoma, Tom B. Long, Disney Italia, and David Gerstein.
He used to be a porn star.
He's a colorist. He's not a porn star. He's a colorist. He has to have the silly name.
No. A colorist's name is Sonoma. Just one name. Not Tom B. Long.
It's like they snuck it past Disney Comics. All right, who's the funny guy? No, that's really my name.
I mean, yeah.
The most elaborate prank ever. He changed his name to that just so he can be in an Uncle Scrooge book as Tom B. Long. And immature people like us can laugh at it.
And laugh at it I will. Thank you, Tom B. Long.
You know, number 1 sold better than we expected at the comic shop.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm really happy about that. I think it's the regular Uncle Scrooge audience because it's older readers that are buying it, but also people about my age that grew up with DuckTales, they're picking this up, and now I'm like, okay, so now I can see why Huey, Louie, and Dewey are actually in the comic. Initially, I still want this. I still want it to be a solo Uncle Scrooge story because I have a lot of the older comics, and those are mainly what they were. They weren't so much Huey, Louie, and Dewey. Although Donald was in it a lot, but it was just so he can be
shit on by
Uncle Scrooge. And it used to be that Donald was my favorite, and I'm like, oh, Uncle Scrooge is truly the badass here, not Donald. But even that, I still enjoy these stories. I think you probably liked it even more because it's a pirate story. And it's pretty much Pirates of the Caribbean before that fucking movie came out.
It's not at all Pirates of the Caribbean.
There's a curse because they stole a treasure.
Yeah, but
and they're now cursed forever.
It's like a weird-ass curse where like they lose limbs and eyeballs, and then...
That happened in the movie.
And then they turn into birds.
That didn't happen in the movie, but that's because the movie had to be sure not to rip off Uncle Scrooge from years ago.
Okay, I'm sure that's exactly what it was.
That's exactly what it is. It's the exact same story. They have to return the treasure to break the curse, and that's what happens.
There's no love story. There's no Jack Sparrow.
There's something better than Jack Sparrow. His name is Uncle Scrooge. The cheapest motherfucker in the world. The richest motherfucker in the world.
He is very cheap. I was reading this. I'm like, Uncle Scrooge, why do you have all this money if you can't even enjoy it?
That's what he enjoys about it, like staring at it and swimming in it.
You consider gum like forms of currency. Like, oh, I have more sticks of gum than you, so I'm richer.
They do.
And they're dying, and his nephew's like, yo, can I get some gum? And he's like, nah, buy your own.
Yeah, that's what's awesome about Scrooge. That's what I love about him. He doesn't give a shit about anyone, even his own nephews. Like, it's all about the money, and I love that about Scrooge. Like, I wish I could be like him, but I spend money. It's the reasons I'm broke, right? I'm buying his own comic. So he's even richer because of me. And I adored the book. I especially like the rivalry he has with the other rich duck.
The Scottish one?
Yeah, Glomgold. That's what it is. He's been in the older stories as well. And they always have this competition of who can be richer than the other. And usually Uncle Scrooge makes him spend more money to like exactly like what had happened here. And it's the ongoing gag, and I never get tired of it. And I loved it. Loved Uncle Scrooge number 2. Older stories, recolored, and they're awesome.
But not as good as Saga.
They're different. They're too different. You can't compare them at all.
Not as good as Saga.
Cannot compare them.
So our next book, keeping with the duck theme, I guess,
yeah, that's true,
is Howard the Duck number 3. This one's written by Chip Zdarsky with art by Joe Quinones, and the colorist is Rico Renzi.
A very poor duck.
A very poor duck. He does not save his money like Uncle Scrooge.
Ends up nude at one point to get food.
Eating breadcrumbs from old ladies.
Another phenomenal comic. Howard the Duck is a series you should be reading. If you don't care about Howard the Duck, you should be reading. Just like, I compare this to Squirrel Girl as well. Like, they're on that same line.
Yeah.
If you don't care about Squirrel Girl and Howard the Duck, like we didn't, and we gave it a shot and we read it, I adore both comics, and I like Howard the Duck. This is Chip Zdarsky plays with the character so much. Like, he doesn't give a shit about really, like, he'll make fun of continuity in the comic itself. Like, when he's talking to Spider-Man about being married to Mary Jane, oh, that was retconned out, right? And like, he's talking on the phone about that. It's really funny, and Chip is clearly having fun writing this with the character, and I'm liking Howard the Duck as I read more and more issues.
It is a lot of fun. I don't feel I like this issue as much as I did the last one, and it may be because I didn't pick up as many
of the references, mostly because I don't read a lot of Marvel, or haven't read a lot of Marvel. I loved Spider-Man in it when he swings over and he's like, "Hey, Mary Jane, so your nephew told me to come see you," or Aunt May. I'm sorry, Aunt May. So little things like that make it a whole lot of fun. Again, I didn't like this one as much as the last issue, but I definitely enjoyed reading it. The other thing, too, is even the backup stories are hilarious. Like, with the old cosplayers that go out to parties and get paid for it. Like, the one guy's like, yeah, find our original characters. Find the original Thor and the original Captain America, because we're being replaced by women and minorities. And Howard the Duck looks at him and he's like, so what? Pick one of the other 90% of white superheroes out there.
And then he's like, this guy's hairy. I gotta find Wolverine.
He's pointing to Wolverine. Yeah, this guy's short, hairy, and Canadian. So I felt like that was Chip also sort of making fun of that Twitter, internet rage that they had over those people that don't read the comics and, got mad over the new Thor, the new Captain America. Whereas people that do read Thor, and I've seen it, I have the subscribers at the shop, they're like, cool, reading the new Thor, I like Thor, and some of them enjoyed it, there's a couple of them that this isn't for me, and they dropped it, but they still read it, they gave it a shot. That's what there's so much to digest in these Howard the Duck books and the Unbeatable Squirrel Girl. Very excellent, almost my pick of the week, very close.
Our next book is Thor number 8. This is written by Jason Aaron with art by Russell Dodderman, and the colorist is Matthew Wilson. So
much heart in this comic, and another issue in which we don't know the Thor world as much, and we care about the characters already. This one is my pick of the week, straight off, because of the reveal of who Thor ended up being. It's not so much because, it was a surprise and I didn't expect it. Yeah, we didn't expect it, but because of who she is, what she becomes when she turns into Thor means so much to not only her and her life, but just as a character in itself, where you're like, holy shit, like, I need you to succeed now, because now I'm emotionally attached to you because of who you are, now that we know who you really are.
Absolutely. It was a wonderful reveal, because I thought it was like, what's her name?
Yeah.
Who we thought was revealed, and I'm like, I don't even know who this is. I don't care.
Why do I care?
Exactly. And now I care so much. I'm like, oh, this is great. I even love Mama Thor so much in this book, because the majority of it's action, but you can tell that she's so mad at Allfather.
Yeah, her husband.
Her husband. Odin. Yeah, and he's not getting any for a long time. Not for a long time. He can just forget about it. And
he knows it, too, when you see him in his throne, like, real flat, like, But the way that she handled that situation is such a wife move. Like, that's a strong woman right there. That's what Supergirl needs to be. Because she knows he's wrong. She's going to show him that he's wrong. And in the end, he's going to realize he's wrong on his own. Because that's what women do. We make you men, like, make you think you thought of these things. Like, we're so sneaky about it, too. Because, like, we'll present an idea. Mental ninjas.
Yeah, we do. We're great at it, too. So he's going to come to the conclusion himself, like, oh, I was wrong. I should apologize to her for this. And she's just going to use her woman ways.
See, there he is, all flatness. I'm showing Kelly the panel right now.
He's so sad. He's like,
Now you feel bad for him.
No stuff for me. And I'm like, yeah, no action for you.
No pootie tang.
You're a bad man trying to destroy this Lady Thor. Bad.
And teaming up with his evil brother.
Yeah, don't be going against your wife.
It's awesome. It's a great comic. Loved it. My pick of the week.
It's a great pick of the week. It was close for me, But, Saga.
Was that your runner-up to pick of the week, or was there another comic that you kind of enjoyed a little bit more than Thor? Because nothing came close to Saga, I'm sure.
Well, no, nothing ever comes close to Saga. No, it was probably my runner-up. It was good. If there wasn't Saga this week, yeah.
Probably Thor. Mm-hmm. Cool. Final book this week, and it's our only DC comic, and that is Convergence number 6 of 8, written by Jeff King and Scott Lobdell, art by Ed Benes and Eduardo Pansica, colors by Peter Stegerwald.
Peter, you're doing it wrong. Your name just needs to be Stegerwald.
Yeah, because he's a colorist. Yes. That's all it has to be.
That's all it has to be, Stegerwald.
Or if it were Peter, it would have to be spelled all weird and different. It would just be P-T-E-R. R. 2 R's. Emphasis on the R.
Peter.
So this has a ton of action.
Yes.
In Convergence number 6. And some people may say, oh, finally something's happening. I feel like that's the wrong kind of attention. I still like that they're exploring Talos a lot, and that's the one character that I cared about the most in this arc, because we're not really seeing our heroes in this. Like, they're there, but they're not really there. They're not the center of it. Nightwing is all on there. Robin, I should say. Robin.
Being Robin. And they missed a very good opportunity. They had Starfire in there, and she does go Nightwing, and then he's like, what? And then they just keep going. I'm like, no, this would be great. She needs to come up and just, like, plant one on him. And he's like, no, my wife.
And my dead child.
Which, I will point out, he said, like, 4 times in this book. And it's pissing me off now. Because in the beginning, I was like, oh, great, he has a kid. He's doing this all for his kid, blah, 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 blah. And now every other panel, he's like, oh, I lost my wife and my son in this, so we need to work together. Mm-hmm. And then he walks up to the next person. I lost my wife and my son. We need to work together.
Every version of Grayson will be whiny.
Yes.
All versions of Dick will be whiny.
All forever.
So he's staying true to the character. If anything, he's a well-written...
But I understand that he lost his wife and his kid. They don't need to push it every 5 seconds.
They're not pushing it. He is.
Whatever. And then they're talking about him like he's this great thing, and he keeps going, but right. I have no powers, I don't believe in myself. And they're like, no, you've been with Batman in every version of yourself, so you can be great. And he's like, oh, but I don't know my wife and my child.
He would have known this by now. That's one misstep in the Grayson writing.
Right.
And he would have known, I can probably pull this off. He would have more confidence than what he has now. I don't know if that would have necessarily been shattered with the death of his wife and child, because there's that mentality that Dick Grayson has had in the past, like, okay, it's time to work. Like, it's work time, and that's something that Batman instilled in him.
But I feel like, because up till this point, he's talked about losing his wife and his child. We know his wife is dead. Like, that's it, his wife is gone. But he still has hope that his kid is alive. So I feel like by this point, he would have been like, look, this is my only chance of finding my son. This is what we're going to do. We're going to make it happen, and I can make it happen. And they're not doing that with his character. He's just whining more. He's whining to get people on his side so that they can be the big guns to get things done. He does not deserve to wear that bat that he carved into his shirt because he was being whiny one day.
Well, the one good thing about it is Talos at least is not gone, and they're doing exactly what I wanted out of Talos, and that's they're making him sympathetic, and I care about him, and I'm like, okay, cool. If Nightwing has to go through this so that we have this Talos character, and maybe there's a big role for him as well, which is what I want out of this, not just like a Silver Surfer type of guy. Cool, let's go in that direction. And this is where we have the big fight scene of the entire arc. Overall, I think the arc's been like it hasn't been a success in my mind, but it also hasn't been the A team of the DC team. Like, they're all moving from New York to California. They're getting settled at this point. Next month is when we have the good stuff. Like, that's where we have the big brand new comics, the big books returning. That's what I love about what's coming in June. That's what I'm really excited for. And when we were talking about Convergence before this, we knew what this was. This is like, here's this happening for now. It's not going to be a big reboot or a big relaunch. It's just an event.
It's like when parents turn on the TV. Here, this will keep you busy.
Right.
Like, that's exactly what it is. I will say one thing I enjoyed about the comic is we're getting to see all the heroes from different worlds come together. So that's pretty cool. You have all the Flashes going, well, let's go find more Flashes because we're all pretty rad. And I'm like, you are all pretty rad.
That was pretty cool.
That could lead to a lot of fun things. And then we're getting to see them fight the villains from all these other universes too. Or at least we will in, obviously, the next 2 comics. So I think that's what everybody ultimately wanted to see. And that's what we're going to get. And is the story going to be as strong as we want? Of course not.
One of the subscribers at the shop, I don't know if he listens to the show, but he said that he's picking up Convergence and a lot of the tie-ins simply because he says this is probably the last time he sees his heroes
Aww.
or his versions of
Right.
Superman and Nightwing, Batman, all of those guys, his Justice League. So that's why he's been buying them. So I guess, and he's a regular reader. He's been reading the New 52. He didn't drop off on that. But at the same time, it's a little something for those guys, even though, like we've been saying for weeks, the people that left for the New 52 aren't coming back for Convergence. Mm-hmm. But the guys that did stick around, the girls that did stick around for it, are getting a little treat out of this as well.
Right.
Like, we're not getting as much out of it because we didn't grow up, with the 70s Superman or even the 80s Superman or whatever. But it's still there, and that's sort of what this was for. And I'm still, it's all about June for me.
Almost
Let's
there.
get this over with.
Almost there.
So that will close out the show for us. My pick of the week was Thor number 8.
Mine was Saga number 28.
And my pass of the week was Bravest Warriors number 32.
That was my pass of the week as well.
We do want to point you over to nerdupmedia.com. Don't forget to check out the shop while you're there. For a donation of $16.99, you get a t-shirt of your choice, male and female sizes. We have different colors, including blue, red, gray, and black, including the brand new color...
Pink! Boo pink!
Yes, Boo Pink. Not a specific anime character out there, Boo Pink.
But Boo Pink.
That's what we're calling it, Boo Pink.
It's over 9,000.
Yes.
While you're on nerdupmedia.com, you can also check out all of our other shows. Not necessarily us, but all of our partners, like Bacon in the Oven, Those Two Jerks, Lazy Gaming Guys, and The Read Pile. All of which will be represented at our panel by the time you're listening to it this weekend at Omni Expo.
Very exciting. Huge thanks to our sponsors, Audible, as well as Omni Expo. And, of course, to all of you Brokettes out there, whether old or new. We thank you all. We appreciate all of the listens, all of the comments, all of the follows. All of that is good stuff. Keeps us going. That's what it is. The donations are a whole separate thing. If there were no donations, it'd be just your comments, your listens, the interaction. That's what we love about it. And I always love going on Twitter, finding something brand new that you guys found and had the consideration of showing us. At The Irish on Fire is huge on that, always shows us stuff. Bobby, I know you're listening to this as well. You always point out the coolest new toy or the latest article. Showed us the direct link to the trailer for The Legends of Tomorrow. So huge thank you to Brokettes out there for sticking around and for supporting us.
Thank you guys so much. I'm Kelli.
And I'm Daniel.
We'll see you next week.